Today we'll be exploring correlations in Python. So here this simple techniques, right, where we import all the required libraries. So we'll import all the matplotlib packages for visualization, numpy for numpy arrays, and defining the pyplot as plt. Okay. Now we are loading our data. I have UCI is UC Irvine's Abalone dataset, which we will load from it and do our correlation matrices among the features present in the dataset. Okay. So you see this data, right? So the dataset description is not given, and we will not be requiring it here because we will be seeing the correlations among the different columns in this dataset. The columns are M, 0.45, 0.36, 0.09, 0.51, 0.22, 0.101, 0.15, and 15. Okay. So this is what the data set we have, and it has all these values that lie under them. So what we will now do is we will find the correlation matrix among the data. So first one is what I'll do is I'll do Pandas provides a very interesting method called core, COR. Okay. So what this method does is it tells all the correlations between various features in your data set. Yes. So in a diagonal elements always have a correlation of 1. So what multicollinearity is two columns, okay, which highly correlate to each other. These highly correlating set of columns are there, right? These columns cause trouble when you go in the forward steps. For example, in a machine learning model building, it's not something you want, which is why we I first find if there is multicollinearity in your data, and if it exists. For example, if there is a set of n columns, right, you make a choice to just take one column and remove n minus 1 columns. So that is how you handle multicollinearity. So choosing which column you want is entirely up to you. So as a data analyst or even a data scientist, it is up to you to choose which column you want to remove, which column you want to retain, so that you eliminate the problem of multicollinearity. One more thing I have done is moving ahead from this. So we'll print a correlation matrix. We're going to define a blank figure and then define the axis. I'll just explain what df core is from this doc string. So as the definition, actual definition says, it computes pairwise correlation of columns excluding null values. And the method it uses is Pearson's correlation. Though there are other methods of correlation called Kendall's correlation or Spearman rank correlation. So by default, it's Pearson's correlation, and many data analysts also prefer to use Pearson's correlation in their correlation plots. See, CMAP is just the set of colors, okay? So don't worry about all these ones. See, get a color map instance defaulting to RC value if name is none. So name you have mentioned as jet. So if name is something, it is just a key you pass actually. So you can pass nothing also, and still it gives a default set of colors depending on what is the default one. So it's just like coloring this. What one thing I can tell you is don't break your head too much into visualizations, how you color it and all. You can even plot a basic visualization with the default values and it is good to go. This one just wanted to show something different, that's why I did. Show the application of all these names and the counts of different colors and the interpolation, and you pass the color map here. That's it. So this is from UCA Abalone. They didn't mention this, it has this. So I just gave it random values here for labels. And you set the labels and font size in X and Y axis and display this one. And this is the text color bar. You notice this one, right? Intensity, which means how much correlation is there. One is the highest correlation, and here 0.75 is from where it starts. Okay, I want to make this a bit bigger, so I'll do it about later. Axis X tick, Y tick, I'll make it like 12, but it look a bit ugly. Yeah, now it's better. Apart from length, diameter and diameter, height and height, and so on, the same pairs. the data which is highly correlating to each other. Okay, viscera is here and here. Okay, so viscera is, see, one thing is that I'm not able to display this one properly, okay, because it's not too small. So ignore the diagonal elements, okay, completely. Do you notice something different here? See, compare it this one, the diagonal element, the squared size to the one here. Yeah, so let us only uh, keep our focus here because this part looks different, no? So you notice the length and diameter are highly correlated. So what does that mean if length and diameter are highly correlated? What do you call high correlation between two, let's say, columns? You notice that length and diam exhibit multicollinearity. So our inference from this figure is that length and diameter exhibit high collinearity with respect to each other and are multicollinear, right? So similarly, we are putting a correlation with different sizes, okay, with different heat maps. You wanted one with default, right? This one we have set a different color map, okay. So we're just defining the figure size and passing it to heat map. What are we passing? The correlation data here. All right. Yes. See, heat map is nothing but a map showing the varying intensities of various data points in it. This one you have defined a different color map. See, here you have mentioned all the colors between the red, blue, and green spectrum, right? Here this is default value. These two columns again, 0.45 and 0.36 show high collinearity with respect to each other, right? Here also, these are nothing but length and diameter, okay? So these two are multicollinear, and any one of these columns will be retained for your further data work, probably building a machine learning model, which we will soon be exploring. So this is what multicollinearity is, high collinearity between two columns, and this is how you visualize the correlations in your data.